Okay. Yes.
Okay. Pardon me for the date. It is supposed to be 7th. So I think I made it yesterday and there's something, a lot of things going on my head. So pardon me for the date. So thank you. Thank you once again, SS Ghandhy College, for inviting me over for this talk. And I hope I'm loud and clear across.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the kind acknowledgement, because it generally happens, technology has its pitfalls, and Mr. Murphy has a habit of visiting every now and then when you don't expect Murphy to be around. So thank you for the acknowledgement. Everything is working fine. So I hope for this session will be fruitful to all of you. And I don't know whether I am quite adept or quite qualified to so-called give a lecture or a session, but in whatever sense, I consider myself as a student for life, rather than in any. I'm not in any position to, kind of give any gyan to the teachers, because I believe teachers are actually the nation makers. They are the ones who help us in moving ahead. I generally start by giving gratitude to all the gurus who have shaped me, because of whom I am here. And since all of you are gurus who are joining today, so my deepest gratitude to all of you. I am all because of my guru, and I'm sure people, students who are there today, they will hold you in such respect equally so. So, and since day before yesterday was the Teachers' Day, I wish we could have had this on 5th, but 5th itself was quite busy. So I had to request Professor Darshan to give me 7th. Otherwise, the best way would have been to pay my gratitude to all of you on 5th. So having given the gratitude, I'll just cover a couple of generic slides and then quickly move on to where I want to put more stress. Now, this slide is only to show as a collective human conscience where we are, and we are 7.8 billion now. More and more we are rising. Just to give you a figure, uh, out of this 7.8, we are Indians per se are about 1.37 now, 1.36, 1.37. So if you divide something like this, it comes out that every sixth person walking on planet Earth is an Indian. But if we look at some kind of, actually there are no statistics to guess as to how many professionals are there in about 1 in 6. So the fact of the matter is that if we are so populated, if we are so rich in demography, why is it that we lack in number of professional representations across the world? It only goes on to show that we lack somewhere in our professional touch. My best estimate, and this is guess, I am just guessing, because I could not find any figures as to how many professionals are there. So my best guess is it is somewhere around it should be somewhere around 1 in 50. Of course, the pride of the matter is that be it Satya Nadella, be it Sundar Pichai, be it top level Anand Mahindra, etc., Mukesh Ambani for that matter, we occupy some really good heights. But our base across the world, I think there is a lot of effort that as a teacher, as a educational institute, we need to put in to make our professional rise and enhance that base. So coming back to the reality check that comes here, is evident that there is going to be requirement of more. When there is going to be requirement of more, be in terms of, let's say, housing, be in terms of water, be in terms of food. So there is going to be a requirement of more to meet this growing demand as per the population. I've just given certain factors here listed on the slide, that 1.6 gigatons of food is going wastage. To generate processed meat of 1 kg, it requires anywhere between 7,000 to 15,000 liters of water. Whereas I'm not casting aspersion on those who are non-veg by any stretch of imagination. All I am saying is the requirement to process food, the requirement to have housing for all, the requirement to cut down on pollution, there is a lot of effort which is required. And if all of this is required, there is a bigger reality which faces us. Of course, the more is going to be a reality, but what is a bigger reality is all these resources are going to decrease as we go along. So we should all brace up for finding the resources getting shrunk, resources getting lessened, and hence less is going to be a bigger reality in times to come. And this is the place where across the world, at least as Indians, we should put in a little bit of thought process and try to help in whatever way by controlling the damage. I will come again to this topic. Uh, I just want to show you this slide to highlight as to what is where and what we can do ahead. Just imagine 0.39 billion megawatt of energy is is being used every day, and out of this is 0.33 billion megawatt is from non-renewable resources, and just about 0.06 is from renewable resources. I don't know how much this actually translates into percentage, but if you look at the last 2446, approximately 2500 billion megawatt is what is sun throwing at us. And if we were to utilize just 0.059, I think it is, I won't even call it negligible. It is just as good as zero. So that is what we are able to utilize. So are we looking at such kind of places where we can make the difference? Or, and this world meter is available. There may be minor changes in this. Once I was giving a talk, I had drawn out this particular slide in December 2020. There won't be much difference. So what I am trying to say is that as teachers, as nation builders, as technology managers and engineers, it is our responsibility towards humanity, towards the world, to make things happen in a right format, in a right shape. And as Indians, when our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, talks of 5 trillion economy, our direction should be clear. When we produce human resource, at which place we have to produce human resource, I think somehow we have lost some direction some time back. But with this clarion call of $5 trillion economy and the national infrastructure pipeline which has been given out, I think this is where we need to focus. As teachers, as professors, as faculty members, we have to produce some quality manpower which function in these couple of areas. Just to highlight, energy is going to have 24%. What point is producing a production engineer if he is not able to work on energy project? What point is producing a civil engineer if he is not able to contribute towards dams? So the idea is our energy, our efforts should be directed in the area, in the direction, channelized in the direction which helps in achieving this particular national infrastructure pipeline. Energy 24%, roads 19%, then followed by railways, and then next is the urban planning. So the the idea is that this national infrastructure pipeline gives us the direction to channelize an energy, to focus our efforts. Only then we are able to move ahead towards this so-called dream of $5 trillion economy. And rightly so, from the ramparts of Red Fort, Honorable Prime Minister has also called for Vision 2047, which talks about, in next 25 years, where are we going to be at the 100 years completion of our independence. So with 24% as energy share, just imagine the kind of the investment which is going to happen. Overall, $100 million, 102 lakh crores are supposed to come into this infrastructure pipeline over the next 3 to 4 years now, with almost 64 billion dollars, roughly amounting to 500 odd crore rupees coming towards the renewable energy. So this is just one snapshot of the only energy sector. Presently, we have an installed capacity of 356 gigawatts, which is supposed to be enhanced to almost double, 619 gigawatts. Thermal is going to reduce from 66 to 50%, and renewable has to expand in any way if we have to meet the carbon credit and Paris Accord agreement. Then we have to enhance our renewable resources from 22% to 39%, followed by others, hydros and nuclear as well. So the idea is only to say that our quality, our effort, the kind of manpower, the human resource that we produce should be in line with the direction. And to do this, I believe as a whatever practitioner of engineering, there are only two questions that we should ask before we embark on any journey as to what to do different and how to do things differently. Essentially, both of these lead us to the same result towards the improvement side of any or optimization. If we answer these two questions, I think we are on the right track. But if we are not doing, or if we are not working on these either of these two strategies, and maybe there is any third question which comes to your mind, I'll be very glad to get a critical feedback on that. But then I believe I from either of these two, the bottom one, how to do things differently, makes a slightly more sense to me. But both of these are equally good. And in doing so, in adopting any of these two strategies, I have kind of framed this dilemma quadrant whenever we ask such critical questions to ourselves, within ourselves, as to how to do things differently or what to do things differently. I think these four things will always be at the forefront of, or will always bug your mind. First is capability versus ability. I think there is no doubt that I'm like, let me just explain in a very simple term what is capability versus ability. We all have two legs, two hands, and some of us are not very unfortunate in, God has gifted us, made us Divyangjans, uh, be it through accidents or from birth. But then still, if we have two hands, two legs, can we run? Can we swim? Can we, as simple as what we see in Paralympics, people getting gold out there. So the capability is what they have, and what have they made out of their capability is the ability to win the gold medal. Michael Phelps, famous swimmer, he, people asked him as to, this must be your lucky day, winning 6 golds in one day. Uh, they never realize how much hard work he has done in getting, not chopping off that, zero point 0.6 milliseconds and creating the world record. So the capability is not having two hands, two legs. The capability converted to ability is to get the outcome. So I think that is where the importance or the distinction between capability and ability lies. Can we lift that 150 kg weight as Mirabai Chanu did? That's the ability. So we are all made capable, but how are we utilizing our capability actually translates into the ability. Then comes the creativity versus risk. There is no point having an idea in the head. I'm like, you may be creative, but have you taken the risk, or have you motivated your students to take the risk and get that idea patented? I'm very sorry to say we lack in motivating our student to have the risk appetite. Sorry, I may be sounding a little radical, a little more harsh on this point. Pardon me for that, but the fact that we have made some progress is only a pointer that we are now enhancing our risk appetite, but we have lost ground. There is why has it been delayed so much? uh, so the idea is, if you can sing in the bathroom, why can't you come on and sing on the stage? Is the simple analogy to creativity versus risk. So we must encourage our students, motivate our students to have that risk appetite. If not now, when? It is in the colleges that as a professors, as faculty members, you can develop that connect. I'll come to that, delivery versus connect. But it is now that they can, or you can motivate them to take the risk. Once they graduate, once they go out in the environment, it will be very difficult for them, and they will only hold, you professors, you faculty members, that had my professor given me this training, or had my professor motivated me, I would have filed my patent, or I would have. It is then you will feel the pinch, or maybe once he gets up and says in an environment that my professor did not motivate me or did not encourage me. So ladies and gentlemen, please motivate your students to experiment, to take ideas out of their head and practice, because this is the place, the foregrounds of your institutes are the place where this risk can be taken without any loss of face, without any loss of any dignity whatsoever. But once they go into the environment, the risk appetite is going to reduce tremendously, and so equally for the professors and faculty members themselves. Now, information versus intellect. I don't think I need to deliberate on this. We all know what is information. We have, Yahoo and Bings and Google. In fact, to the extent that Google has become a verb, it is no more Google. Have you Googled it? So Google has kind of become a verb for getting the information. But what you make out of this information is the intellect. So unless this information is put into practice, I think our intellect capability or intellectual capability is lacking. So information is abound. You have books, you have even professors giving the information, but it is ultimately the intellect which matters. And to that extent, uh, the idea of on-job training or skills training or experiential learning is very, very important. And now my favorite part of delivery versus connect, ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 just don't focus on delivery. You have to connect with the student. It is only you. Just imagine, uh, if in a 24-hour cycle or in a day there are 24 hours, for the best part of their lives, for the best growing age of their life, the students are there with you for whole 24 hours. If you see, if I take a rough figure of 20 years of us from birth till attaining that age of 20 years, first maybe for 12 years or first maybe for 16 years, one third of the part they spend with their school teachers in a day. But for next 4 years, the full 24-hour cycle, they are kind of spending in the institute, seeing through you, watching you, maybe imitating you and learning from you. And that is the age where they are maturing. And hence it is a great opportunity for you to leave your mark on these students. It is at this point when they are all free, their minds are free, they are not with their parents. And you know and if you are not able to establish connect at this point in time, they are all under your watch. And this is the place, this is the time, this is the moment of opportunity when you can, more than delivering just lecture, you are supposed or you are likely to connect with them. So please connect with them, have that connect, only then they will go far. I don't know how many officers, young officers whom I have kind of groomed in my service, but I can say that uh, every now and then I keep getting calls from those young officers. Though I would have rogered them nice and proper, tried to drill some sense into them when they were all young and raw. But today, when they definitely give me a call, I feel so much pride in listening to them, and I have all the ears for them whenever they give me a call. So it's the connect which matters at the end of the day. Of course, delivery has to be proper, and only then you will connect. So just imagine 24 hours, 4 years, and all the time for you to connect. Now, largely these two, if I draw a line in between, the first part is actually transformational and the bottom part is transactional. When you are giving the information, it is, he's giving fees for it. So kind of a transaction. When you are delivering lecture, the student is sitting across. So it is something is transacting between you two. The top part is more of a transformational. You have to convert, transform the capability into ability, and you have to transform his creativity in some form, give it shape. So this is the place, and that is why I said teachers. If at all both these roles are being played, it is being played by a teacher. And for if 24-hour cycle a teacher is there, I think there cannot be a better word to have a guru and a teacher who is playing these two roles. And hence the importance of teacher lies here. He's both transacting also, and he's equally transforming a young mind, a young student also. So, and here we are at AICTE, All India Council of Technical Education. We have three sets of wonderful administrators, teachers, leaders, Professor Sahasabudhe, Professor Punia, and Dr. Rajiv Kumar, who are leading in whatever form the new education policy in India. And much of the effort that we are trying to do is to become a facilitator for all the institute. Of course, the regulatory role is mandated, but shortly I will give certain quality initiatives that we have taken towards the faculty members over the last couple of years. And it is only because of these tall leaders in the education domain that we are progressing in the way we are trying to do. And I'm sure this will resonate with all of you that India, in terms of be it Washington Accord, be it ARIA rankings, the Innovation Index, GII, etc., we have made some tremendous steps, and all because of faculty members who are listening to this, and of course because of these three gentlemen at the leadership role at AICTE. So these are some of the quality initiatives I will briefly cover. We have the induction program where we try to help students with 3 weeks, and this is the place where the first connect from the quota factories of, or the coaching institutes, the student come into the live environment of the college, and the first impression of the faculty is made during the induction program. So it is expected that all faculty members, and all of you can actually go through. It's a wonderful program, 3 weeks. I have myself gone through it. It talks about self-discovery. It talks about the environment, the connect with the next human being. So it's a wonderful program, 3 weeks. You can all go through it. It is available. You can subscribe to it. Then we are working on AICTE SWAYAM translation project. The talk is that we will have 11 projects now, 11 languages curriculum. Already the first year is out in 2 or 3 languages. I think Urdu is also been now added, so making it about 12. So we are working on this translation project, all SWAYAM courses, and at least the first year. So as we go along, now it will be first year, then the second year, and by the time next 3 years, all 4 years curriculum will be translated into these 11, 12 languages. Then as a faculty member, the AICTE Training and Learning Academy, they have started functioning, and a lot of faculty members, if I remember correctly, almost 80,000 faculty members have already got trained this year. And there was a record of kind which established in 2000, or we are looking forward for this record of holding 1300 FDPs in 2021. In fact, for the last year, 1000 FDPs had happened, and that was recognized by London Book of Records. So then the third is the National Initiative for Technical Teachers Training, NITTT. This talks about the young or a fresh teacher who has joined a college. He's supposed to undergo 8 modules, or rather undergo 3 phases of learning before he actually joins or formally takes over the teaching. The first is 8 modules on SWAYAM, followed by 1 month of internship, and in phase 3 it will be about 6 months of mentor-based teaching. So a fresh teacher appointed in any engineering college or engineering institute must go through these 3-phased teaching module, and then he will be allowed to independently take classes. Then there is a lot of talk as to why AICTE had not taken out any regulations on pay. So, ladies and gentlemen, on 1st March 2019, the AICTE regulation on pay scale was given out, and this is available on the net. Everybody can see all this thing. Examination reform policy 2018, the examination reform policy, which talked about outcome-based question answers. The question bank is already available. More is being added every quarter. Some additions is there. Then AICTE is also giving out the AICTE Professional Development Scheme, where I'll cover something more. I'll show all this thing. It is not that I'm just giving out or listing out the initiative. I'll show all this thing in black and white in the next slides. ASLAP and Margdarshan initiative, of course, I will cover. In addition to this, at AICTE, we are also having Ministry of Education Innovation Cell, which holds, I'm sure most of you are aware of, hackathons, then ARIA rankings. We launched drug discovery during with some of the famous pharmaceutical players and softwares, drug discovery hackathon. Then we have innovation councils in the institute, and the startup policy. Also, Ministry of Education, Indian Knowledge System, which is primarily focused on research in Indian traditional knowledge. And we keep holding, the IKS keep holding a lot of lectures on lost wisdom. In fact, we all would have heard about the iron pillar at Delhi. Nobody has been able to actually come out with the chemical composition of that pillar so far, and it has been existing for almost now 200 years, but it has not rusted. So there is something to it. I'm like, we should not talk about our lost wisdom, or we should not lose sight of the lost wisdom. It is that place, or they're marvels. You go in Ajanta Ellora or maybe South India, Mahabalipuram, the kind of there is, how would he have lifted one tall bit of chhatri and put it on the temple? Gujarat, you go, you find such marvels. So these are some of these places where Indian knowledge system are functioning to give out the lost wisdom. So 2 world records we had created. Atal FDPs, I already mentioned, 1,000 last year, and also there was a record with for AI, artificial intelligence in India. If I am not wrong, 10 lakhs to people got trained on basic AI in one day. So this you can download. This is the pay scale regulation. So very much in black and white. AICTE has walked the talk, given out this Gazette of India notification for all the faculty members. This is the professional development scheme. The objective is very clear. It will to promote the faculty members to present papers. We will bear some grants for your travel, and of course some part has to be borne by the individual himself. This is the examination reform policy. Please go through it. This is very important, at least for the senior faculty members, those who are the deans, the HODs. You will get a lot of input from this examination reform policy, and maybe you can ask the right questions based on the Bloom's taxonomy for your students. Then again, another document. So all these are there. The idea to show you is not, like I said, it is just not to list it. If you just do a normal, if you just Google it, you will get all this thing. Please go through them. It is quite beneficial to all of you. So some credentials, the AIC's, the latest initiative on student learning assessment program. I must give you a backdrop of this. Somewhere around 2019, there was a study done by Stanford University on the uptake of our students, at least in the engineering domain. So they found that our students were actually weak when they joined the colleges, weak in English and all. But as they grew, as they go along the journey, the learning curve of our students are very, very steep as compared to the Chinese and Koreans. Initially, the intake level, yes, we are way behind, but our learning curve is faster. And in order to enhance the the activities of the student to this thing, there is a requirement of having question bank, which will and the students can undergo this ASLAP program, the test at the end of every odd semester, and look for himself or see for himself with the mentors as to where they are lacking, and the mentors can then guide them to enhance their particular weak areas. So ASLAP program was actually is the outcome of the Stanford study, which was commissioned in 2018-19, and now we already have this almost, if I'm not wrong, 1,000 question on both the aptitude part of it and the course specific disciplines. So this is primarily focused on students. In fact, more than students, even the faculty members themselves can take the assessment to judge for themselves as to where they're lacking. So maybe in times to come, the work is already on the go. A lot of questions, 1,000 questions, if I remember correctly, has already been collated, and experts have contributed to this project. Now I'll come towards the Margdarshan initiative, which I personally steer at AICTE, kind of administrator. Again, this is just a facilitative mechanism. We do not, in any way look forward for snooping on any college or trying to find out their weak areas. But the environment we are trying to facilitate the colleges who are lacking or who are aspirational. I wouldn't say lacking, but who've got all the wherewithals, but they lack a little push or a guidance to apply for the NBA. And why NBA? I must give this backdrop. We started off what is called as Washington Accord in 2007. We became the provisional members. It's a Washington Accord. It was given out in 1989 with about 6 countries, and is part of the International Engineering Alliance. The need of having a Washington Accord or being a signatory to it is the mutual recognition of our graduate And that is the place where I said I'll come back to the first talk of 1 in 50 professionals. This is the accord, or this is the place which grants us the mutual recognition of our graduate engineers across the nations, across the boundaries of our country. When they go across, the mutual recognition, the mutual respect is granted. The idea is not to stay in India, or the idea is just not, or the kind of human resource that we have, that human resource should be able to get back the dollars for us. It is only then that $5 trillion, it is not 5 trillion rupee, we are talking about $5 trillion economy. So it is the dollar that should come back to India. Only then our GDP will grow. And for that dollars to come back, our engineers, our human resource product should be able to step outside the boundary. And that is the importance of this Washington Accord. NBA from India is the signatory on behalf of India, who was signed on this Washington Accord. Of course, 2014 we became full signatory, and till date there are only 21 countries who are full signatory, with India being one of them, and there are 7 provisional. I think if I have the list, yes, there is the, just 1 second, please, just 1 second. Lt Col Bansal, मैं एक सेशन में हूँ गुरुद्वारे से, I'll give you a call. So sorry for the interruption. So like I was saying, there are only 21 countries, with India being one of them in 2014. It has just been extended, if I'm not wrong, last year. Our extension has been approved, so we are going strong. And the need of having this NBA in our approval process handbook, whenever you apply in next 3 years, if you are okay with it, well, fine, good, thank you. You need not worry. But if you are not having NBA in next 3 years, our approval process handbook clearly says that if you do not have 60% of the eligible courses NBA approved or NBA accredited, you shall not be granted the extension of approval. In point blank form, I will say that your college, respective colleges, faces the bleak future of shutting down. There is, I think, enough time is available for all of us to look inwards and see, come out with our strengths and apply for NBA accreditation. It is not only that we have mentioned it in the regulatory approval. What point is for AIC to just give a diktat and not work to help colleges? And that is where the facilitative mechanism of Margdarshan initiative has been started. Rightly brought out by Dr. Vikram Dhiman, that we started off in about 2018. In fact, it is not only 2018. This scheme actually got started in somewhere in 2016 as share and mentor institution, where a well-established institute can coordinate or collaborate with another institution, and between the two of them there could be some sharing of thought processes, best practices. It started off with that at Share and Mentor Institute, where the two institutes, based on their strengths, would collaborate amongst each other and help each other in mutually benefiting key areas. But then over the period of time, once this need was felt, and in fact the Washington Accord, when it came down very heavily, when our graduates, engineers, for example, in Kuwait, started getting feelers that they will be pushed out from the Kuwait back to India because they do not have recognition, accreditation. That is the time we started redesigning this scheme in 2018 with a very targeted approach of having a good institution mentoring other institutions to get NBA. So they became the Margdarshan Institute, and simultaneously we also started looking for motivated senior faculty members, whether retired or working, who could actually go out in the environment and mentor individual institutes. So the subset became as a Margdarshak scheme. So the two components of this initiative is, first is the Margdarshan Institute, which is actually a collaborative or a corporate social responsibility kind of mechanism, an institutional mechanism, institutional intervention, and other is a Margdarshak, which is a individual intervention. As far as the NEP is concerned, why Margdarshak plays an important role is because of this 4 pillars, and between the first pillar and the gateway to all the second and the third and the fourth pillar sits the National Accreditation Council. Well, ladies and gentlemen, NAC will open the doors for the two other pillars for your grants and for your higher education for other courses. So till such time you do not have the accreditation, in whatever time frame it will come, I'm not too sure what is the structuring going to be, but suffice to say that the NEP itself talks about the accreditation in a very strong sense. It is going to be a binary process. Either you have it or you don't have it. If you don't have it, well, you're out of the system. You're out of the loop in whatever form you're going to be. So, and if you are having it, I'm saying it again, if you're having it now, well, good. If you're not having it and you are working on it, well, you are on track. But if you don't have it, you really need to hurry up. You really need to run, take some kind of help, maybe under this facilitative mechanism or through your own administrators or mentors, and catch the bus. So this is going to be a gray area for those who are sweating now, and NAC is going to be the gateway for any kind of approvals or future grants or whatever. And it talks about actually talks about accreditation of institutes and not programs, whereas NBA presently talks about programs. So the idea is very clear. Once you have programs, well, you can bid for institute accreditation. But if you do not have programs only accredited, I don't know how you are going to put your strength forward saying that we should be granted accreditation for the institute. Okay, this is the ecosystem of Margdarshan initiative. I'll talk about the mentor institution, well established, 15 years. Some criteria is there with NBA, having NBA and good NAC, ARIA, etc., etc. They will form the core, and on this periphery will lie about 10 beneficiary institute, mentee beneficiary institute. So a mentor institution will be able to mentor about 10, maximum 10 in a very targeted, objective manner, and help these beneficiary institute, aspiring institute to gain or walk the talk towards their NBA journey. He will have internally certain resource person, and to interface with AICTE, they will have chief coordinators and principal of the mentor institution. To aid the mentor institution, AICTE is not going to give you much grant, but just as a token, we are going to give you 5 lakh rupees per beneficiary institute, so that some amount of expenses are going to get covered. Remember, this is not some kind of a grant or this thing. This is just a token of maybe for your meeting honorarium or some kind of holding some kind of function in our institute, some seminar or something. So this is what we are looking at. We are looking at becoming mentor institution, well-established institution, becoming partners with AICTE. The aim of AICTE is not to give you grant. The aim of AICTE through the mentor institution is to help other aspiring institution gain NBA. I'm sure this is going to lead you to a lot of satisfaction as an institutional mechanism, and a lot of aspiring institute will be looking towards your strength, or you will be able to mentor them and collaborate with them. In a similar fashion, we have the Margdarshak scheme, where a senior academician who's having a PhD and some kind of teaching experience, whatever we have listed in the QR, and of course functioning well over a period of time, he will be mapped to 2 or 3, 1 to 3, either of them, 1, 2 or 3 beneficiary institute, and he will be responsible for guiding these beneficiary institute on one-on-one basis. So on one side we have an institutional mechanism, and the other side we have a personal mechanism. So, but a beneficiary institute, whosoever it is, maybe your own college, SS Ghandhy College itself, if he is mapped to a mentor institution, then he should not look forward for a Margdarshak, and vice versa. So if he is mapped to a Margdarshak, then he is not eligible to seek Margdarshan or mentoring under the mentor institute. So either of the place beneficiary institute can be mapped. But once having been mapped or having been given this facilitative mechanism, please do not switch. Okay, today I want to be under MI. After 6 months, I want to be with a Margdarshak. Sorry, we will not allow that. Also, we will not allow a mentor institution or a Margdarshak to change any beneficiary institute It is listed in our guidelines also, which was flashed earlier. So please go through the guidelines on these small so-called caveats. You should not, suddenly be jumping the boats from this side to this side or this side to this side, because the aim is very targeted. The scheme is very, very pinpointed, and until unless we have our objectives clear, I don't think we will be able to move ahead. So, institute, both MI or MBI or a Margdarshak, is requested to kindly follow targeted delivery and help AICT in strengthening this facilitative mechanism. In order to do that, these are some of the support system that we have tried to build up. For Margdarshaks, we will allow some travel for 200 kilometers. Sorry, this point I forgot to mention, that both the ecosystem will function under the periphery of 200 kilometers. The beneficiary institute should be located within the limits of 200 kilometers. We will not allow extension of, it is just about 225 kilometers, 25 kilometers extra, or 50 kilometers. Sorry, we have taken a very conscious call of capping it at 200 kilometers, so that the turnaround time is reduced. Maybe you can go look at the institute and turn back on the same day, so that it doesn't hamper you. And the objective is to have vicinity between the colleges, the beneficiary and the mentor, so that the bonhomie is developed and mutual trust and working is rapport is developed between the two of you. So coming back to the support system for academicians, Margdarshak, we'll have AC 2-tier accommodation we are permitting, and of course you can travel by car, taxi, subject to whatever maximum rates in the state government or central government within the area. And honorarium rupees 3,000 we are giving for internal experts. For Margdarshak, which is nominated by AICT, we have enhanced, or there is enhanced this thing for 5,000 rupees. And we only expect the beneficiary institute, the one who's taking the facilitative mechanism, please help in giving them some kind of a local support for overnight stay if they want to stay back at your place. Maybe food, some kind of tea, coffee, some secretarial support in case he's calling for some reports from the management, so somebody can help him in compiling those reports for you. Some utilities, maybe internet, some office space. So we expect some local support from the beneficiary institute also. While the Margdarshak and the MI will be giving you resource person or the resource to traverse your journey, we expect you to also pitch in by extending some local hospitality and support. So far, this is the status. 900 and approximately 950 as last count that I had. Beneficiary institutes across India, approximately 300 plus 330 odd Margdarshaks and 47 mentor institute. What I must highlight across is the Margdarshan mentor institutions which are there, the Margdarshan institutes which are there. If you see towards your own side in Gujarat, in Rajasthan, in the Western theatre, if I may call it, there are hardly any. In fact, there is none in Rajasthan and maybe Gujarat side. So we want more mentor institutions to come forward, submit their detailed project reports, and we will scrutinize them at AICT, and we will help you in becoming a partner with us to mentor these other beneficiary institutions. Similarly, if you look at the Margdarshak span India towards your even Gujarat, I can only see 1 or 2 dots, not more than that. So we require senior academicians also who can help mentor. If you have been a part of the NBA team, you can read through the guidelines. There are a lot of detailed keywords which I am purposefully not flashing it, because if I flash it, then there is a habit of not reading it. So I want you to go through the guidelines. Please go through them and apply for it. The forms is available on the web. It's a simple Google form for the Margdarshak, but for the mentor institution, we are calling for a detailed project report, including the PQs of the beneficiary institute whom you are trying to mentor. So mentor institution and for Margdarshak, they are open round the year. Please send your entries, nominations. It is not very often that we are doing it. We are trying to do it once in a quarter. Sometimes it is getting delayed. Like for this time, it has got delayed because of a lot of other activities, and some more restructuring is likely to happen in this scheme as well. You will ask me what is the outcome. Well, more than 100 institutions under this facilitative mechanism has already got NBA through the Margdarshaks and the MIs, and we have already spent about almost to the tune of 8 crores now. So this is slightly old data, but the latest figure which I have is about 8.2 crores, which we have already spent, and we are ready to give more. If you mentor 10 institutions successfully, please send us additional DPR. We will allot more to the mentor institute. Once you complete, if three MBIs have got NBA with a Margdarshak, please send us additional names. We will map them considering the limitations of distance. So we are open to it. This is what is from the mentor institutions. I got feedback from 36, total about 339. So take it around 350 beneficiary institutes, which were mapped with about 36 mentor institutions, out of which 61 got the NBA under the mentor institute, and 35, I'm sure this number would be more, but this is slightly old data, about 4 months, 5 months back. So this number would be more. So at least I can show you with some authority that yes, 61 at least with authority, I have the names or have achieved NBA through this facilitative mechanism. As far as the Margdarshak feedback is concerned, well, not much from the Margdarshak. It is expected because the number activities itself got hampered because of the corona. For the almost last 2 years, no physical visits have been happening. But suffice to say that the engagement has been happening from the Margdarshak side with the institute. So we have about 330 odd Margdarshak. The data is of, it's just a sample data of about 100, 110. So expectedly, the numbers of this NBA numbers here that you are saying that you are seeing, they are likely to go higher. But suffice to say that 5 and 3, 8 and 2, 10 definitely have got it, or maybe 15 have definitely got this NBA accreditation from with the help of the Margdarshaks as well. So I expect Margdarshaks also, as the situation improves, this figure will also go high. Also, there is a fact to why this data is low is because the number of Margdarshaks we have not been able to map all the Margdarshaks that have got nominated. Because obviously we have not, the institutes themselves are slightly hesitant to come. They see that the Margdarshak is likely to act as spy for AICTE. We don't call for any report from any Margdarshak on any of the management functioning of any beneficiary institute. Any institute who is taking mentoring under this scheme, either with the Margdarshak or with the MI, we are not asking for any management report. Whatever you are doing is purely within the walls of your boundaries. Uh, Feel free to interact with them, and we are in fact only asking what is the progress with respect to the PQs or the listed 12 criterias of the NBA. That is all we are interested, or as an administrator of the scheme, I am interested in. The objective or the targeted approach is very, very clear, which I will again reiterate, is to get the NBA accreditation of the beneficiary. Okay, that brings me almost to the last slide. As I close, I would request your kind attention on one aspect, one very, very clear aspect. We all know of rare earth metals, all those chromium, thrombium, and I don't know, I'm kind of forgetting the names of the elements. But why are they called rare earth metals? Why are they listed so separately? The fact that they are rare and they are found very less. But here is one element, uranium. We must, this class 12 uranium, which is found very, very prominently. In fact, if you see 1 kg of this, is some kind of research which I could find in the UN document, that 1 kg of uranium is actually 20,000 kgs of coal. So 20 tons of coal is just 1 kg of uranium. So that's the kind of impact a quality can create. But what is of more importance is 1 kg of U308, that is the uranium dioxide. If I uranium, which is commonly found called as yellow cake, cost about $50. That's somewhere around 3,500 or 4,000 odd rupees. And if we enrich this uranium, And when I say enrich, it is, of course, you can't enrich it much. It is just the enrichment is generally 5 to 10%. Just imagine what is the cost of this 1 kg enriched uranium going to be. This yellow cake is found in even in Jharkhand and Ranchi and maybe in Orissa, that you can actually just pick up and fill it in your bags and carry it along. But what is of importance is this 1 kg of enriched uranium. The cost is $50 for the yellow cake. But can anybody give me, somebody who have heard me before may know it, but anybody from the environment, can I just seek a response? Just can you guess what would be the cost of this 1 kg of enriched uranium? Anyone, please. Darshan Saab,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
can you give me a cost? Sorry, I don't know the name, so I had to ask Professor Darshan. Maybe Dr. Vikram, if he can.
So participants, you can unmute yourself and you can give the
Anyone,
answer.
I just need a sample. I just need to know what could be the cost. It's quite unimaginative. Anyone,
10
just
10K USD.
10,000 US dollars. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your kind response. Very thankful to you. I think now you can guess. 1 kg of enriched uranium cost 15 million US dollars, not 10,000 US dollars. Unimaginable, I said. And this is what quality does. If you enrich 5 to 10%, that poor yellow cake turns into more than a gold. It turns into 15 million US dollars. Even if you were to count zeros, I don't think you will ever be able to count zeros in comparison to 50 US dollars. And mind you, this is a rough which has been given on Quora. I have not been factually able to find out the cost. But even if we go by the what is given in Google or Quora, if this is the pointer, the idea is just to tell you the impact of what as a faculty members you can do to enrich your student. Amongst thousands of kgs of yellow cake that you produce, and from that if we get one Sundar Pichai which is costing or which is worth 15 million US dollars, just imagine. And that should leave you with the question which is given at the bottom: do we still want development of human resource, or should we look at converting it into human capital? Ladies and gentlemen, I leave this question. This is an open-ended question. There is no thoughts in my mind that as institutes, as faculty members, you have an onerous responsibility and a great many role in converting not only human resource or not only producing resource. You have a great role, great factor in converting into human capital to get those dollars back. Convert this 50 US dollar worth product into 15 million US dollar worth product. That is the place, that is the kind of catalyst you are who can do this job. Nobody else on this Mother India can do this job except for teachers. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for so patiently listening to me. And we cannot become what we want by remaining what we are. We can only become what we want by doing what we want to do. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My personal details are there on the slide. Do connect with me on social media or otherwise. My email ID is there, and I shall do my best possible, whatever I can, to facilitate any one of you if I can be of any assistance to anyone. As I close, I also hold the charge of social media at AICTE. Do follow us on social media. Ask your students also and other faculty members to follow us on social media, because a lot of our updates do get published on social media before it gets percolated down in the environment, either through website or through emails, etc. Most of our updates are there on social media as well. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have nothing more to say. Just to tell you that learning never stops with Daniel as well. Thank you. These are paradigms beyond boundaries. Thank you very much. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your